My name is Jarrett Kaufman, and I'm in the IT field, technically a technology specialist. I picked that title myself because I thought it was nice, a combination of two things that are extremely broad, or one thing that's extremely broad, combined with specializing in a huge category. It's kind of a humorous bit on my part that no one gets. I ask myself that every day. What I do with the IIG is I'm a member of, obviously, the general committee of the IIG. So we get together every month to discuss the investigations we're working on, various news in the skeptical world or in the world of pseudoscience, the paranormal, things along those lines, the things that we dig into most. But I also get involved. I go to all the steering committee meetings, even though I'm not a member of the steering committee, but they're open to the general membership, and it helps me be aware of what's going on and help guide things. I'm on a few specific subcommittees. I'm on the first responders committee, which is we're the group that gets all the emails that come into the IIG requesting information about the $50,000 challenge, about what it is we do, people who need help from us, or people who think they've got something, they've got an ability, they think they can win the $50,000. We're the ones who collect those, read them over, see if we can find out extra information about the person, see if they've got YouTube videos out there, see if they've got just different things going on already on the internet, so we can understand better what their claim is, and we'll draft a first response, send it out to them, and whoever drafts that first response becomes in charge of dealing with that person and learning about their case, and hopefully working with them to develop a protocol to test them on the $50,000 and see if they actually qualify, if they really do have a paranormal ability. So that's that committee. I'm involved in that. I was also involved in the test of the power balance wristbands, which are the balance bands that supposedly adjust your body's natural vibrational field to give you better balance. A lot of sports, a lot of athletes and sports fanatics use those and claim they have abilities. We did a full-scale test of that. And then I'm involved in a lot of little other subcommittees and things. We've got an upcoming website called theoddsmustbecrazy.com, which hasn't launched yet, but it will be launching soon, where we're going to be tracking interesting coincidences in day-to-day life, the kind of things that people think stand out to them as something unusual that just seems unlikely that it could come together like that. But the reality is those things happen a lot. So we're collecting those stories just for fun. It's not really a scientific experiment. It's just a way of collecting fun information to get people interested in it and see that these kind of things are happening all over the place, all around them. The IIG for me is an opportunity to get together with like-minded people, and instead of just thinking about what's going on in the world and what's not getting done right, or how people are getting bilked for their money or time or health, it's actually a group of people who are doing something about it, investigating, finding out what's real and what's not, and helping some of the people out there who may get taken by the people who are pushing these products or concepts that may be harmful or may just be silly and a waste of time that we could invest in other more fun things that we know are really going on. I've been with the IIG since February of 2010, so as of right now, that's about 6 or 7 months, I think. I don't know, my math skills are warped, so I think it's actually longer than that. But anyway, been with the IIG for a little less than a year, been heavily involved since the moment I got in. Once I realized what was going on with the IIG, I got very excited with it and started to really dig in, join committees, represented us at the Amazing Meeting 8, which was a lot of fun, and just got really into it. Some of the things, actually, one of the things that we did recently that I ended up having a lot of fun with was we went to the Southern California Paranormal Convention, or Paracon. And what was really interesting about that was we didn't do some kind of covert undercover thing or whatever. We actually paid for a table there and represented ourselves at Paracon as an investigations group, because that's what we are, and our group has done many paranormal investigations, including actually gone into allegedly haunted homes and done the full-on thing there. So there's a lot of groups there from various ghost hunting groups, not to mention psychics and people selling various paraphernalia, things like that. But we went in as ourselves, no real agenda. We wanted to see what was going on there and represent ourselves. And we were actually kind of nervous going in. And the strange and cool thing was we actually were much better accepted than we expected. Everyone there was very friendly to us, very helpful. We had people from other groups actually help us carry in some of our supplies. They gave us, no guff, no problems. They're very open with us. A lot of the groups actually at least have, projected that they were very scientific, so they were open to that aspect of what we were doing. And the true believers there were just happy to tell us their stories, because we wanted to make sure that they understood we're open-minded to this. We genuinely are open to these ideas. Part of the reason we do the challenge is if it's out there, we actually want to find it. Genuinely so, because we're all geeks. This is the kind of thing that's exciting to us. We grew up with science fiction and horror and magic and all these concepts, great movies that incorporate these things. If this stuff's real, we'd love to find it. But the problem is we just keep finding the people who are claiming it's real and it's not there. So this is our opportunity to find that. So we projected that. We made that very clear to the people at Paracon, and they responded well. We got a lot of really entertaining stories about things people have seen. A person who had supposedly alien visitors in her home, and she had a really compelling, interesting story that was fun to listen to, and we're hoping to actually work with her to maybe investigate it, see if there's something more going on with it. We had people who have claimed psychic abilities that they could do. We had one person who came up to us. We had a deck of Zener cards on the table, because one of the members of our group actually is an illusionist and has a whole routine with them where he gets them all right miraculously. And she looked at the cards and said to me, "Hey, turn over the top card." Okay, so I turned over the top card. She looked at it and said, "I thought so." She didn't tell us what it was she thought it was ahead of time, but that was a hit to her. And so we actually went through a few cards, and she kept getting them right, assuming that her definition of right was if I turn over the card after the card that she got wrong and it happened to be right, that was a hit to her. And so we had an interesting conversation with her. But we met a lot of cool people there, and I just thought I found it was a really fun experience. Well, one of the things that I would find the most compelling and hope to eventually find, and it's kind of in that gray area of whether or not it's woo, just because it's not entirely supernatural, but extraterrestrial life. It's a big thing for people, UFO abductions, things like that. And those are the types of things that I find the evidence for them currently is not compelling at all. But I find it entirely feasible, if not likely, that there is extraterrestrial life of some sort out there. Whether or not we'll ever actually be able to communicate with it, whether it's close enough to us, those are all factors that are holding us back, obviously. But it'd be one of the ones I personally would find very exciting, and also I find the most plausible out of most of what fits into the woo angle. But as far as the current evidence for alien visitation, or the reptoids taking the bodies of world leaders, things like that, that stuff doesn't seem compelling. The evidence doesn't seem to be there. But the idea that the life is out there and that maybe we can either find it, prove it's there, or miraculously, or I guess not miraculously in that case, communicate with it, I don't think that's completely impossible, and I certainly I hope for it. It'd be pretty darn exciting. Well, bullshit's just such a clean word, so I kind of like that one, but you can't use that in as many places. I kind of like the term pseudoscience, just because it's a scientific word, obviously, in a sense. Certainly it's one that sounds a little bit more official. It's one that's a little bit less insulting, especially if I use it and then explain it and explain the way I'm applying it to whatever I'm discussing with the person. It's one I can more easily get away with using in the company of people who may believe in something, but then I can work with them on it. So pseudoscience is a good one. Woo is just fun. It's a fun word, but you got to be careful who you use it with, obviously. Some people definitely take offense. Well, from my experience, most of the skeptical groups out there are a lot of it when you join. If you're joining Skeptic Society, if you're donating to the CFI directly, who we're related with, JREF, whatever, you're helping fund the group, which is very important because they all do a lot of important outreach. You're joining, you're gaining access to their events. My experience with those things, and I'm involved in all of them because I do find them very important, but it's a little bit more passive. You're reading their magazine, or you're listening to a lecture, or you're going to a conference. You're interacting with people, and oftentimes there's offshoots, things like Drinking Skeptically, where you're just getting together with people and talking about the subjects, and all of that's really valuable because there's a lot of grassroots stuff that comes out of that. People on the side might say, hey, let's actually investigate this more specifically, but the IIG is actually directly an investigation group. It's not just people getting together to talk. We're actually actively pursuing things to investigate, whether it is the haunted house or a psychic You know, we had a psychic come to town a few months ago, and we were actually planning to, we bought tickets to the show to go and investigate, see what he was up to, and, you know, see if we could have some fun with it or expose possibly some dangerous things that were going on with the individual. And that was an active thing. It wasn't just people just talking about it. And so that's the big thing here, is we take it very seriously. We've got structured all the meetings. We've got an agenda. We've got all these factors that are designed to treat it seriously. We're not just goofing off when we're actually attending IIG meetings and planning things. We're conducting as close to genuine, real scientific experiments as is possible, and they genuinely are, but obviously we don't necessarily have access to the rigorous conditions that some scientific organizations could, but we try to take it legitimately. So it's not just hanging out, having a good time, which we do, and a lot of the people I've met, I spend a lot of time with outside of the IIG events, but it's really taking this seriously and doing things and not just talking about them. I seem to bristle the most at anything in the alternative medicine realm. Those are the things that hurt me the most, simply because they actually hurt people. There's a lot of beliefs out there that what they harm is up for argument. Granted, there are good arguments to make for almost any of this having harm to some people, whether it's, you know, 2012 belief. There's the people who will give up actual money because they believe that the world's going to end then anyway. There's a lot of harm in all of that, but the alternative medicine is the most direct, because they're both usually taking money from people in exchange for not only not actually helping their health, but these people are doing this instead of getting actual medical help. So instead of people going to a doctor and getting properly diagnosed or getting properly treated, trying various treatments, including occasionally getting in on actual experimental, actual, you know, cutting edge techniques that are almost in the range of what alternative science is, but still being administered by a professional who understands what their benefits genuinely are. These are people who are going to storefronts, paying money. This stuff isn't free, contrary to the belief. It's a common argument used by the proponents of it, of how the medical industry, big pharma and everything, they're all in it for the money. Well, I don't see many, if any, alternative medicine practitioners who are giving away any of their services for free. You know, all of the herbal treatments, and herbs have genuine benefits, but many of what's being hawked don't. But a lot of these herbal treatments, they're not free, and they're usually sold by the same companies that make the big pharma medications. So you're all just giving large amounts of money to people anyway. But whether it's acupuncture, whether it's homeopathy, you're paying for these services. And the people who claim that they're not taking money for their services are usually selling books or something else along those lines where they are making money from their claims. So you're both giving up money in exchange for no health gain and spending that money on actually helping yourself. So that's the stuff that really digs at me the most. The other stuff is a little bit more fun. There's a little bit more wiggle room to laughing at it instead of just being angered and hurt by it. Boy, if there's anyone I could kick in the nuts whether or not they have them, in this case don't, I'd say Jenny McCarthy's pretty high on that list. She's done a lot of harm in the name of doing good. I mean, she's the person who's really good at making people believe that she's trying to protect their kids. And I'm not saying she's not trying to protect their kids, because I think she genuinely believes what she's saying. I don't think she's someone who's lying about it. But she gets people to believe that she's really trying to help them, and that what she's doing is coming from a place of complete, you know, love and respect and concern, and she's actually doing genuine, measurable harm. So that one really bugs the crap out of me, because a lot of people have been hurt or died from her actions. I think if you're one of those people who your first instinct when you hear something unusual or extreme or whatever is just to say, I wonder. If you're that kind of person who, when a family member sends you an interesting forward, you go straight to Scopes.com or Snopes.com and look it up and try to verify it and forward that out. If you're that kind of personality, it's worth it for you to get involved in this, because even if you have a preconceived notion of what we're doing, like before I got into the IIG, based on what I read online, I just thought it was a ghost hunting organization, which is actually a very small amount of what we do. But that held me off for a while because that wasn't a specific major interest of mine. But once I got involved, I found out how much is done and how quickly you get to know the people in the group and like them and get along with them, because they've got that similar attitude to you of wanting to understand the world genuinely instead of going for the cheap, easy answers. The moment you get involved with a group like that, instantly you feel better about your own personality and your own attitudes on things. You feel like there's more people out there like you. And since I'm personally not a religious person, I don't go to church, I don't have that great community aspect of church that a lot of people benefit from, the people I've met through the IIG have kind of taken that place for me. They become a community for me of people that I can trust, that I can rely on, that I can get help from, or that I can just talk to about things that matter to me and know that they understand them. So all of that for me is a real benefit, and that's why I'd say whatever local organization you have access to, whether there's an IIG in your area, whether it's just skeptics in the pub or drinking skeptically or any organization, or if there's not and you think maybe, just maybe there are a few people close by that you could start one up with, do it. It's worth it. You will benefit from it. Be skeptical.
Man, awesome.
You didn't actually think your goons would stop me, did you?